So the Indiana Fever go down to the Aces, and I got to say, I am not liking what I'm seeing.
I mean this when I say this. Fire Stephanie White yesterday. Like, fire her yesterday. And the reason why is not that Stephanie White is a bad basketball coach. It's not that Stephanie White is a bad motivational speaker. It's not that Stephanie White has done a bad job defending her players. It's not any of that. It's that Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark fundamentally have different...
There is a bad thing going on in Indiana. As her coach, Stephanie White frantically looks for excuses. Caitlin Clark just dropped another stinker against the Aces, going cold from 3. The Fever's hopes of winning a title are vanishing more quickly than summertime ice cream, and someone has to take responsibility for this mess. Things are going to get heated.
Yeah, I think the little things, we've kind of just shot ourselves in the leg consistently doing that. We turn the ball over, we foul a lot. You know, those are just easy points for them. I don't know how many points they had at the free throw line tonight, but I think they had 18 off of our turnovers, and that mostly falls on me. That falls on me as our point guard. I think I have to really get us into stuff, especially in the fourth quarter. We didn't do a good job of taking care of the ball. I didn't. So I think just starts with me and just getting better in that.
What do you believe to be the true cause of Caitlin Clark's shooting difficulties? The system, the pressure, or something more profound? Leave your comments below.
I have to say, I saw the same type of energy from Caitlin Clark that I have been seeing from her, or actually maybe just from the last game, but I saw her definitely having in the last game, and that was kind of a little deflated, kind of under baseline energy levels. She wasn't like really talking to anybody on the court. She wasn't showing much emotion, and this is, that is where Caitlin Clark shows all of her emotion.
The Fever, who were supposed to be Indiana's championship team, just received a reality check from the Las Vegas Aces, losing 89-81 in what can only be described as a masterclass in how to blow a lead and crush your fans' hopes simultaneously. Let's talk numbers, because they don't lie like some of the excuses we're about to hear. Well, here we are again, folks. Another day, another disappointing performance. When combined with her prior performance against Golden State, Caitlin Clark's 1 for 10 three-point shooting performance is not a shooting slump, but rather a shooting disaster. In her last 2 games, Clark has gone 1 for 17 from beyond the arc. If that doesn't raise red flags, I don't know what does.
Fun is good, and obviously it's frustrating. You want him to go in, and even tonight I felt like there was a few that felt really good off my hand, and you just didn't go down. And even the mid-range jump shot to start the fourth quarter and the 3 to start the fourth quarter, they both felt good off my hand. So it's just frustrating.
However, after this embarrassing show, this is when things start to get interesting. Stephanie White chose to play the blame game, and to her surprise, she is blaming everyone but herself. The main issue, in my opinion, is what we as staff need to do to improve her appearance and quality of appearance. After the game, White replied, "Oh really? Because as far as I can tell, you're the coach, Stephanie, and it's literally your responsibility to get your star player doing well."
The biggest thing is what we have to do as a staff to get her better looks, like higher quality looks. Every game plan is going to be to make her score inside the three-point line, right? And the different ways that they're going to do that. Physicality, coverage, showing bodies, all the different things. And, we have to do a better job of getting her higher quality looks.
As she resumed her deflection tour, White stated that every opponent's strategy would try to get her to shoot inside the three-point line correctly, and the various methods they would accomplish that physicality coverage, displaying bodies doing all the various things. Congratulations, coach. You've just learned that rival teams genuinely attempt to defend their key players. That's amazing, and the boldness doesn't end there. White followed up by saying, "I'm not worried about Caitlin's shot. Caitlin's shot is going to be just fine. The things I'm worried about is our 18 turnovers for 28 Aces points." Well, turnovers are suddenly the issue rather than your franchise player appearing disoriented in your system. Classic coaching deflection 101. The game was tied 69-69 in the fourth quarter when the Aces outscored Indiana 9-2 to take the lead for good. Let's examine what actually transpired in Vegas, because this wasn't simply a defeat. Rather, it was a methodical demolition of everything the Fever were meant to represent this season. It's poor execution when it counts most, not bad luck.
Now, that energy from Caitlin Clark is very different. It feels like Everybody on this team, like, I don't know, Dewana Bonner has been in her head. I think that it's showing that Caitlin Clark is in her head, and she's 23 years old and she has the weight of the success of the WNBA on her shoulders. And, the Connecticut Sun game was very intense, so we can't assume that it didn't exactly have an effect on her, but there is definitely something going on. I know she's also been coughing a lot, like for a while actually. So, all I would be saying are assumptions here, but the energy level that Caitlin Clark is exuding is a little worrisome. It could just be she lost 2 games in a row and she seems...
Caitlin Clark put up respectable-looking numbers on paper, 19 points and 11 assists, but anyone watching the game could see that she was having trouble. She shot 7 of 20 from the field and had 8 turnovers. In contrast, A'ja Wilson did what great players do when facing underdog teams. She took over. Wilson scored 24 points and was one of 5 players in double figures. This is what separates contenders from pretenders when the pressure is on real champions to step up. The fever, regrettably, retreated. However, let's not forgetting the elephant in the room. Stephanie White's insistence on using a motion offense, which is about as effective for Caitlin Clark as a chocolate teapot. When given the opportunity to create, White has Clark sprint around screens like she's auditioning for a community theater production of Basketball the Musical, since Clark thrives in transitional settings. The most frustrating part, this is Clark's second year in the league, not her rookie season. She should be building on last year's foundation, not looking like she's learning basketball for the first time. The improvement curve should be steep and upward, not this roller coaster of mediocrity we're witnessing. And let's address the health concerns, because they're real, and they're affecting Clark's game. The quad injury that kept her out for several games earlier this season seems to have lingering effects. You can see it in her movement. She's not exploding to the rim like she used to, and her shot mechanics look off. When a shooter's foundation isn't stable, everything else crumbles. But instead of managing her minutes properly or adjusting the system to accommodate her current physical state, White keeps pushing the same tired offensive schemes. It's like watching someone try to fit a square peg into a round hole while insisting the hole will eventually change shape. The injuries aren't just physical, though. There's clearly some mental fatigue setting, and getting poked in the eye, shoved to the ground, and dealing with increasingly physical play night after night takes a toll. Since Clark's contentious game against Connecticut, where she got poked in the eye and shoved to the ground, she hasn't shot well. That's not a coincidence. Speaking of the Connecticut game, let's discuss Stephanie White's response to that circumstance. Everyone's getting better except the officials, White said in a tirade criticizing officiating. Although it's admirable to see a coach stand up for her player, perhaps she should do more coaching and less assigning blame to the officials. The most telling instance occurred when Stephanie White interrupted a question concerning the Connecticut incident that was aimed at Caitlin Clark, stating that she would take care of the officiating questions. That's not a good look, either because the coach is shielding her player or because the coach doesn't trust her athlete to manage media duties. This is what irritates me the most. The unrealized potential with bold off-season attempts to bring in veterans with championship experience. This Fever Club was meant to be different. Dana, although Bonner's absence for personal reasons has undoubtedly impacted, depth and coaching are meant to be more important in this situation. Without her season presence, the team's attack has been absolutely lost, as Bonner has missed 4 straight games. The most annoying thing about Stephanie White's post-game remarks is how completely unaccountable she is. She is quick to point out areas where the staff needs to improve, but she never acknowledges that perhaps the system is broken when your best player is shooting 1 for 17 from 3 over 2 games. You need more than just better looks. You require an improved system. What precisely makes those improved looks? White continues, saying that Clark is receiving a lot of open threes from where I'm sitting. The difference with other top guards in the league is obvious when you watch players like A'ja Wilson or Breanna Stewart. They know exactly where they're getting their shots, and when they have defined roles within systems that maximize their strengths. The issue isn't the quality of the shots, but rather the rhythm and confidence. When you're moving aimlessly in a motion offense, you never get into a shooting rhythm. Clark, on the other hand, appears to play a different sport half the time. What's really troubling is how this impacts the other players on the squad. Although Aaliyah Boston had a strong game with 26 points, including 18 in the first half, she is unable to lead this offense when the main facilitator is having trouble. The supporting cast is contributing, but they require a self-assured and capable floor general. The health issues are not limited to Clark's quad injury. The WNBA season has a true physical cost, and when teams actively target her with physicality, the psychological toll becomes just as significant as the physical performance. Austin Kelly, the head coach, admitted that the other team's strategy has been to physically engage with her during the entire season. This raises another intriguing question regarding Stephanie White's availability. It's not exactly ideal timing for her to miss several games due to personal reasons when her team is having trouble. When your best player is going through a difficult time, you can't coach them through it if you're not there. The motion offense may work for some teams, but it's obviously not working for this team of the Indiana Fever. When you have a player like Clark, you should build around her special skills rather than forcing her into a generic system that any point guard could run. It's basketball malpractice to waste this level of talent on conservative schemes. Let's face it, what we're witnessing here is a fundamental mismatch between player and system, not simply one or even two poor shooting nights. This is one of Clark's greatest advantages. An approach that values ball movement over individual skill is neutering her court vision, her ability to create off the dribble, and her range. The timing of these issues couldn't be worse. Since the WNBA season is brief and every game counts toward playoff positioning, the Fever cannot afford to lose games while their coach determines the best way to employ their star player. This championship window is beginning to close, and they don't stay open forever. What's even more frustrating is that we've seen hints of what this team is capable of. In their opening game, Clark recorded a triple-double, and they pushed the reigning champion Liberty to the limit. The talent is unquestionably there, but the consistency and system integration are lacking. When you have generational talent like Caitlin Clark, you don't play it safe with vanilla offensive schemes. Instead, you push the envelope, take calculated risks, and maximize what makes your team unique. Instead, we're getting basketball's equivalent of elevator music, and that falls on coaching as well. When your rotation players are unsure of their roles or when they'll get meaningful minutes, it creates uncertainty throughout the entire roster. Chemistry isn't just about the starters. It's about having a cohesive team that knows how all the pieces fit together. Although assists don't mean much if the offensive flow is erratic and choppy, excellent point guards can make easy baskets for teammates and step in when necessary. Clark's assist stats are still strong, which indicates that she's working to make the system work. The brutal truth is that if this keeps up, the WNBA's margin for error is extremely narrow, and the Fever are burning through their cushion faster than a bad lottery ticket. Clark appears to be more of a facilitator in a system that doesn't facilitate anything. The physical abuse Clark has endured this season is also unavoidable. Every team knows that roughing her up is an effective strategy, and the officials haven't been consistent in protecting her. When your star player is being shoved to the ground and hit in the face without proper protection from the referees, it affects confidence and shot selection. The Indiana Fever are currently headed toward disappointment rather than championship contention, and that is completely unacceptable given the talent on this roster. The Fever's championship window is closing faster than a drive-through at closing time, so something has to give in Indiana. Whether it's the coaching, the offensive system, or just accepting reality, what do you think needs to change in Indiana? First, hit the like button if you think Stephanie White needs to step up her game, and subscribe for more brutally honest basketball breakdowns.